On the morning of May 20th, 1941, at 6:42 a.m., the Mediterranean sky above the island of Crete ceases to be a backdrop for the weather and transforms into a conveyor belt of industrial warfare. Sergeant Alfred Clive Hulme stands on the dry, hard-packed earth of the Military Discipline Center in Platnius, looking upward. The sound is not a roar. It is a physical vibration that rattles the teeth and vibrates in the chest cavity. It is the synchronized drone of hundreds of Junkers 52 transport aircraft, their corrugated metal skins glinting in the early sunlight. They hang in the air like heavy, slow-moving sharks. From their bellies, thousands of dark shapes detach and blossom into white silk. To the American mind, it looks like a ticker-tape parade in New York City, except the confetti is made of men, and every single one of them is armed with the most advanced automatic weaponry in the world. This is not a raid. This is an invasion. The German war machine is dumping an entire division of its most elite shock troops directly onto the heads of the defenders. To understand the sheer magnitude of this moment, you have to look past the individual soldiers and see the logistics. This is the first time in the history of human conflict that an island is being taken entirely from the air. The Germans are betting everything on this vertical envelopment. For Sergeant Hulme, a 30-year-old farm laborer from New Zealand, the scale is incomprehensible. He is not standing at the head of a crack commando unit. He is a military policeman, a cop in a uniform. His current command consists of 23 men who are technically criminals. Soldiers imprisoned for getting drunk, starting brawls, or stealing supplies. It is the ultimate mismatch. On one side, the Fallschirmjäger, the German paratroopers, trained to the peak of physical perfection and dropped with surgical precision. On the other side, a jailer and his prisoners, holding rifles that date back to the First World War. The olive groves around Malemi Airport become a chaotic killing floor. The landscape of Crete is rugged, defined by ancient terraces, stone walls, and twisted trees. It is a defender's nightmare because it offers infinite hiding spots. The German paratroopers land everywhere. Some drift off course, their chutes tangling in the branches of the olive trees, leaving them suspended and helpless. Others slam into the rocky soil, rolling instantly into firing positions. The air is thick with the crack of Kar 98 rifles and the rapid ripping sound of MG-34 machine guns. This is the sound of the Blitzkrieg arriving on an island that time forgot. Hulme does not wait for orders. There is no telephone line to headquarters that matters right now. The chain of command has dissolved under the weight of 3,000 parachutes. Hulme sprints to the armory. The discipline center is a soft target, but it has teeth if you know where to look. He smashes open the lockers. He grabs every Lee Enfield rifle he can carry. He kicks open boxes of .303 ammunition. He runs back to his prisoners, men who, minutes ago, were locked up for being bad soldiers. He looks them in the eye. He doesn't give a patriotic speech. He doesn't talk about the king or the empire. He simply hands them the cold steel of the rifles and points toward the noise. The unspoken deal is simple. Fight today or die in a cell. The prisoners take the weapons. The jailer becomes the captain. Together they run toward the airfield, charging headlong into the teeth of the largest airborne assault the world has ever seen. By noon on May 20th, the situation has devolved into a series of desperate close-quarters brawls. Hulme and his squad of disciplinary cases are holding the line. They are fighting with a ferocity that surprises even the Germans. They push through the dust and the heat, engaging the paratroopers in the olive groves. The German mortar teams are raining high explosive shells onto the New Zealand positions. The ground shakes rhythmically like a heavy heartbeat. Hulme leads from the front. He's a large man, physically powerful, hardened by years of manual labor on the farms of the South Island. He treats the battlefield like a workspace, a dangerous, loud, chaotic workspace that needs to be brought to order. They clear one German squad, then another. By sunset, the bodies of 130 German soldiers litter the sector. But the victory is an illusion. The true threat on Crete is not the massed infantry charges or the mortar barrages. It is the silence that follows. The German military doctrine relies heavily on the sniper. These are not just marksmen, they are specialists in psychological warfare. They are equipped with the Carabiner 98K, a bolt-action rifle that is a masterpiece of Mauser engineering, topped with high-quality Zeiss optics. The German sniper does not fight for ground, he fights for attrition. He infiltrates the lines, finds a high ridge, wraps himself in a camouflage smock, and waits. He waits for an officer to point a finger. He waits for a radio operator to lift a handset. He waits for a medic to unfurl a Red Cross flag. And then, from 300 yards away, he ends a life with a single pull of the trigger. The New Zealanders are baffled. They are losing men to an enemy they cannot see. The landscape of Crete, with its shifting shadows and broken rock formations, is perfect for this kind of invisible warfare. A soldier stands up to light a cigarette, and he drops before the match flares. A sergeant raises his binoculars, and a bullet smashes through the lenses. The morale of the 23rd Battalion begins to fracture. You can fight a tank because you can hear it. You can fight a plane because you can see it. But you cannot fight a ghost. The fear creates paralysis. Patrols stop moving. Supply runners refuse to cross open ground. The entire defensive line begins to stagnate because every man knows that an invisible eye is watching him through a telescopic lens. On May 21st, the reality of this invisible war comes crashing down on Hulme. He is moving between forward positions, checking on his men. The sun is high and bright, baking the rocks. Suddenly, the air snaps. It is the distinctive dry crack of a supersonic bullet passing close by. 10 feet to his left, a New Zealand corporal simply folds up. There is no scream, just the thud of a body hitting the dirt. Before Hulme can react, the air snaps again. A private goes down. Hulme dives behind the thick, gnarled trunk of an olive tree. He presses his face into the dirt, his heart hammering against his ribs. He scans the ridgeline. Nothing. Just heat shimmer and gray rocks. The sniper is effectively invisible. That afternoon, Hulme makes a decision that belongs in a different kind of war. He realizes that standard infantry tactics are useless here. You cannot suppress a single man hiding in 1,000 acres of rock with machine gun fire. You have to hunt him. Hulme goes to his battalion commander, Lieutenant Colonel Leckie. He volunteers to go out alone. He wants to turn the table. He wants to become the hunter. Leckie looks at this farm laborer, this military policeman, and sees something cold in his eyes. He approves the request. For the next 2 days, Hulme operates as a standard counter-sniper. He moves slowly. He watches. He waits for a muzzle flash. He kills several Germans, but it is too slow. For every sniper he removes, 2 more seem to take their place. The mathematics of attrition are working against him. On May 22nd, the dynamic shifts. Hulme is moving through the compound of the Field Punishment Center, the very place he used to guard. He turns a corner and freezes. A lone German paratrooper is standing there. The boy, and he is just a boy, perhaps 19 years old, is separated from his unit. He looks confused, dusty, and out of place. The German raises his rifle. It is a reflex action, born of training. But Hulme is operating on instinct. He snaps his rifle up. He fires once. Center mass. The physics of the heavy .303 round knock the German backward. The boy hits the ground and does not move. The silence returns instantly. Hulme approaches the body. He looks down at the equipment. This is the moment where the story pivots from a war diary to a psychological thriller. The dead German is wearing a splinter pattern camouflage smock. It is a piece of fabric designed by artists and engineers to break up the human silhouette. It mimics the jagged lines of branches and the broken geometry of rocks. Next to the body lies a carabiner 98K with a scope. It is a precision instrument, far superior to the iron sights on Hulme's own rifle. Hulme stares at the kit. He connects the dots. The reason the New Zealanders are dying is because they are visible. The reason the Germans are winning is because they are not. He realizes that if he wants to stop the bleeding, he has to break the rules. The Geneva Convention is very clear about soldiers wearing enemy uniforms. It is a war crime. If you are caught wearing the enemy's colors, you are no longer a prisoner of war. You are a spy. You can be lined up against a wall and shot without a trial. Hulme knows this. He weighs the legal abstraction against the reality of his friends dying in the dirt. The calculation takes about 10 seconds. He kneels down. He strips the camouflage smock off the dead boy. The fabric is still warm. There is a wet, dark stain on the left side, but the structural integrity is fine. He puts it on. He pulls the German rifle over his shoulder. He checks the pockets. 7 rounds in the magazine. 2 spare clips. 47 chances to change the war. He does not ask for permission. He does not file a requisition form. He simply becomes a ghost. He walks away from the safety of his own lines and heads toward the enemy. He is entering a twilight zone where every person he meets is a potential threat. To the Germans, he looks like a friend. To the New Zealanders, he looks like a target. He is entirely alone in the no man's land. This is the most dangerous place on earth for a human being to be, and he is walking into it with a stolen rifle and a blood-stained jacket.
At 0700 hours on May 23rd, Hulme is moving through the olive groves west of Maleme. The morning light is filtering through the leaves. He tests the camouflage. He moves openly. He doesn't crawl. He walks with the confidence of a man who owns the ground. The splinter pattern works. It breaks up his outline against the Mediterranean vegetation. From 200 yards away, he is just a blur, a piece of the landscape. He spots his first target at 0745. It is a textbook setup. A German sniper has built a nest in the ruins of a stone farmhouse. The position overlooks the coastal road, the main artery for the New Zealand retreat. The German is prone, scanning the road, waiting for a truck or a marching column. Hulme watches him through his field glasses. The German is a professional. He is methodical. He sweeps his sector, checks his rear, then goes back to the scope. Hulme stands up. He walks out of the tree line. He is fully exposed. He is walking across an open field in broad daylight. This is the gamble. If the German realizes what is happening, Hulme is dead. The sniper looks up. He sees a figure in a German paratrooper smock carrying a German rifle. His brain registers friend. He goes back to his scope. The deception holds. Hulme peeps walking. He closes the distance. 50 yards, 40 yards. The tension is suffocating. At 25 yards, the length of a driveway, Hulme stops. He raises the German rifle. He fires. The sniper drops without a sound. Hulme moves in. He searches the body. He finds a soldier's book, grenades, and a map. The map is marked with pencil lines showing New Zealand positions. This is gold. Intelligence officers would kill for this paper. Hulme takes the ammunition. He takes the map. He leaves the body and moves on. The sun climbs higher. The heat builds. By noon, he has done it 3 more times. The tactic is identical. Walk, get close, fire. It is brutal in its simplicity. The Germans never see it coming because their brain refuses to process the anomaly. They die believing they are secure. The impact is immediate. On the New Zealand side, the suppression lifts. Commanders notice that they can stand up without getting shot. Radio operators can transmit coordinates without taking a bullet to the helmet. The invisible hand that was holding the battalion down has been lifted. Nobody knows exactly why. There are rumors of a super soldier, or perhaps the Germans have simply run out of ammo. But the men on the ground know that the sector has gone quiet. Hulme is out there, scrubbing the map clean, one trigger pull at a time. On May 24th, Hulme expands his radius. He pushes deep behind the German lines.
He is now walking through the enemy's rear echelon areas. He passes concentrations of German infantry. He walks within 10 feet of squads eating their rations. He nods to them. They nod back. He is a wolf in sheep's clothing, walking through the middle of the flock. The German airborne forces are disorganized. Units are mixed up. Communications are down. It is a mess. In that mess, one extra soldier moving with purpose attracts zero attention. At 14:30, the absurdity of war reaches its peak. Hulme is near Galatas when a German officer, an Oberleutnant, flags him down. The officer is stressed, covered in dust. He barks an order in German, gesturing sharply toward a ridgeline to the east. He thinks Hulme is one of his own men. He is giving tactical instructions to the enemy. Hulme nods, keeps his face neutral, and walks in the direction the officer pointed. He now knows exactly where the next German assault is coming from. He knows where they are weak and where they are strong. The deception is absolute. By the evening of May 24th, the score is 11. 11 snipers removed from the board. Hulme returns to his own lines. He is exhausted. His face is caked with dust and sweat. His commander, Colonel Leckie, sees the toll it has taken. He orders Hulme to stand down. "Get some rest, Sergeant. You've done enough." Hulme refuses. He shakes his head. The job isn't done. The Germans are still coming. He reloads his magazines, cleans the stolen rifle, and goes back out into the dark before the sun comes up on May 25th. The battle for Crete is intensifying. The New Zealanders launch a counterattack to retake the village of Galatas. It is a vicious, close-range brawl. The Germans have turned a schoolhouse into a fortress. Heavy machine gun fire is sawing through the streets, pinning the New Zealanders down. The attack is stalling. Men are dying in the gutters. Hulme appears from the smoke. He doesn't look for cover. He moves forward alone, navigating the rubble. He gets to the wall of the schoolhouse. He pulls 3 German stick grenades from his belt, the ones with the long wooden handles. He primes them. 1, 2, 3. He lobs them through the ground floor windows. The explosions are contained and devastating. The machine gun goes silent. The New Zealand infantry surges forward. They take the village. But victories on Crete are temporary. The German reinforcements are relentless. By May 26th, the defense collapses. The order comes down: withdraw. The Allies are retreating to Suda Bay to be evacuated. The island is lost. The campaign is over. It is a bitterness that tastes like ash in the mouth. That night, in the confusion of the retreat, a runner finds Hulme. He hands him a scrap of paper. It is a message from headquarters. Hulme unfolds it in the dim light. He reads it once. Then he reads it again. His younger brother, Corporal Harold Charles Hulme, is dead. Killed in action, fighting with the 19th Battalion. Hulme folds the paper. He puts it in his pocket. He picks up the German rifle. His hands are rock steady. His face is a mask of stone. Up until this moment, he has been a soldier doing a job. He has been a professional. Now, the chemistry of his motivation changes. The war has become personal. The strategic situation, the withdrawal, the evacuation, the safety of the battalion, all of it fades into the background. There is only the rifle and the men who killed his brother. He is not going to the boats, not yet. He turns his back on the evacuation route and walks toward the advancing German army.
At 050 on May 27th, Hulme positions himself on a hillside overlooking the road to Suda Bay. Below him, his friends, the 23rd Battalion, are retreating. They are tired, beaten, and vulnerable. Behind them, the German vanguard is nipping at their heels. The German snipers are moving along the ridges, looking for officers to shoot, trying to turn the retreat into a rout. Hulme has not slept in 24 hours. He is running on adrenaline and grief. He watches the ridges. He is learning the German patterns. The first target appears at 0520. A German sniper climbing a rocky outcrop. He thinks he is the hunter. He settles into a firing position. Hulme tracks him through the Zeiss scope. The crosshairs settle on the gray tunic. Hulme exhales. He squeezes. The rifle kicks. The German tumbles backward down the rocks. Hulme moves instantly. He knows the rules. Fire and move. Never give them a fix on your position. At 0615, he kills a second sniper from a different angle. At 0730, a third. By 0900, 5 German marksmen are dead along a 2-mile stretch of road. The New Zealand rear guard notices that the pressure has vanished. They are walking through the valley of the shadow of death, but the shadow has lifted. At 10:40, the stakes escalate. Hulme spots a group of 5 German snipers setting up a mass ambush. They're on a hillside that dominates the battalion's flank. If they open fire, it will be a slaughter. They will cut the column to pieces. Hulme is alone. He cannot shoot 5 men before they return fire. He has to get closer. He has to use the smock. He stands up. He adjusts the German tunic. He walks down the hill, right into the lion's den. The Germans see him coming from 400 yards. One of them waves. They see The Germans see him coming from 400 yards. One of them waves. They see a comrade. They shout a greeting. Hulme waves back. He keeps walking. His heart rate must be through the roof, but his gait is steady. He closes to 70 yards, 50 yards. At 40 yards, one of the Germans stands up and walks toward him, smiling, perhaps reaching for a cigarette. He is relaxed. He has lowered his guard completely. Hulme raises the rifle. He shoots the man in the chest. The other 4 Germans freeze. It is a moment of cognitive dissonance. Their brains cannot accept that a German soldier just executed another German soldier. That half-second of confusion is all Hulme needs. He works the bolt. Clack, clack. He fires again. The second man drops. Now the panic sets in. The remaining 3 scramble for their weapons. Clack, clack. Boom! The third man falls. Clack,
clack, boom! The fourth man goes down. The fifth man finally gets his rifle up. He fires a desperate shot. The bullet cracks past Hulme's ear, missing by inches. Hulme does not flinch. He cycles the bolt one last time. He ends it. 5 men down in under 10 seconds. Hulme searches the bodies. He finds written orders. These men were specifically tasked with targeting the withdrawal. They had the timetables. They knew exactly where to be. Hulme takes their ammunition. He takes the orders. He leaves them on the hillside and continues his private war. By the afternoon of May 27th, his count is 16 snipers in 2.5 days. Colonel Leckie finds him during a brief halt. The colonel asks him if he can keep going. The battalion is bleeding. They need him. Hulme nods. He doesn't mention his brother. He doesn't talk about the rage. He just says yes. He gets a piece of paper authorizing him to do whatever he wants. He is a free agent. At 16:30, he clears a narrow valley of 3 more snipers. The 23rd Battalion marches through untouched. By nightfall, the count is 19 for the day. 19 highly trained specialists erased from the battlefield by one man who refuses to stop. But the terrain is getting harder. The next day, May 28th, the battalion has to cross the ridge at Stylos. It is a choke point. Before dawn, Hulme is already there. He scouts the high ground. He sees the nightmare scenario. A German heavy mortar crew, 4 men, and a Granatwerfer 34 is setting up on the crest. They are dialing in the coordinates for the road below. When the New Zealanders hit that stretch of road, the mortar will turn the asphalt into a slaughterhouse. Hulme is 800 yards away, too far for a guaranteed shot. He has to close the gap. He stands up. He trusts the camouflage one more time. He walks across the open ground. The mortar crew sees him. They wave. Just another paratrooper checking the perimeter. Hulme waves back. He walks right up to him. At 50 yards, he can hear their voices. At 30 yards, one of them laughs. At 15 yards, point-blank range, Hulme opens fire. He shoots the nearest man. He cycles the bolt. He shoots the second. The other 2 scramble. He drops them both. He destroys the mortar. He throws the firing mechanism down the ravine. He kicks the ammo boxes over the edge. He stands on the ridge, the master of the battlefield. But his luck is running out. He spots 3 more snipers moving in from the west. He stalks the first one. Easy shot. Down. He stalks the second one. Down. He moves toward the third. This one is different. This one is alert. At 80 yards, the German turns. He looks at Hulme. He looks at the uniform. He looks at the face. He sees the lie. The German swings his rifle. Hulme fires first. The German goes down, but as he falls, his finger tightens on the trigger. His rifle fires. The bullet screams across the distance and slams into Hulme's left shoulder. It is a catastrophic hit. The lead shatters the scapula, turning the bone into splinters. The impact spins Hulme around like a rag doll. He drops to one knee. The pain is blinding white light, but the instinct to kill is stronger than the shock. He works the bolt with one hand. He fires again into the prone German to make sure he stays down. Blood is pouring down his side. The arm is dead. It hangs uselessly. He wraps a rag around it. He picks up the rifle with his right hand. He is hurt bad, but he isn't done. At 8:30, he sees another sniper, target number 34, moving toward the road. Hulme tries to aim. He braces the rifle against a rock. His vision is swimming. The scope is dancing. He fires. He misses. The German spins around. He sees the wounded man. He returns fire. The second bullet hits Hulme in the same shoulder. It tears through the remaining muscle. Hulme is thrown backward behind the rocks. He is bleeding out. He is defenseless. He hears the crunch of boots on gravel. The German is coming to finish him. This is the end. Alone on a rock on Crete. The footsteps get closer. 30 feet. 20. The German is cautious. He knows wounded animals are dangerous. Hulme's right hand gropes in the dirt. He finds a rock. It's the size of a grenade. The footsteps stop 10 feet away. The German is circling, looking for an angle. Holmes throws the rock to his left. Clatter. The German spins toward the sound and fires 2 rounds into the empty air. Hulme lunges. He rolls out, grabs a loose stone, and hurls it at the German's head. It connects. The German staggers. His rifle dips. Hulme crashes into him. They go down in a tangle of limbs and dust. It is a primal, ugly struggle. The German pulls a knife. Hulme headbutts him, once, twice. He feels the nose cartilage crunch. He drives his weight down. The fight leaves the German. Hulme lies on top of the unconscious man, gasping for air, his life leaking out onto the stones. He has to move. The battalion is gone. He is alone behind enemy lines. He starts to crawl. He drags his shattered body down the hill, mile after agonizing mile. At 0940, a patrol finds him on the road. They put him on a stretcher. He tries to speak, to give a report, but the words fail. They evacuate him to Egypt. He survives the surgery, but the arm is ruined. He is sent home to New Zealand. His war is over. In October 1941, the news breaks. He has been awarded the Victoria Cross, the highest military honor in the British Empire. The citation reads that he stalked and killed 33 snipers. It is a record that stands alone in the annals of the war. 33 men who hunted others, hunted down by a farm laborer in a stolen coat. But when the medals are pinned and the speeches are made, Alfred Clive Hulme goes home to a quiet life. He buys a truck. He hauls freight. He raises his sons. He never talks about the war. He never brags. When people ask about the medal, he changes the subject. Because for him, the math doesn't balance. He killed 33 men. He saved hundreds. He won the highest honor his country could give. but his brother is still dead in an unmarked grave on Crete, and the island still fell. Hulme dies in 1982. He takes the details of those 8 days to his grave, but the legacy remains. It is the story of a man who looked at the impossible odds of a modern industrial war and decided to make it personal. A man who put on the skin of the enemy to save his friends. A ghost who walked through the olive groves of Crete, proving that even in the face of overwhelming technology, the most dangerous weapon on the battlefield is a single soldier with a broken heart and a rifle.